So what's happening, everybody? I periodically like to have fun on social media and things, but every now and then, and even hold on before I even say that, and even in my fun, I tend to have a message. So I use humor sometimes to break the ice, and for the few who actually read through the post, there's usually some information or some sort of relevance to something or whatever. Not saying that I'm some know-it-all or whatever, but I try to have some value with the information that I'm attempting to convey. So rather than just going and rehashing the same thing that everybody else does, I try to personalize things a bit and make them more of my style. So for those who are more like me or more in terms of thought, it may be easier for them to understand or digest the message or whatever information that maybe I had to decipher or translate in a sense. But I wanted to take another second, and it's like, one of the things that really seems to amaze me is that with all of the legislation that's being posed, the Democrats continually, here periodically keep warning us about what's going to happen. They've been warning us before they got into office that if they win, this is what they were going to do. They get into office and this is what they're going to do. So there's this hesitation, there's this front line as if they're stacking chess pieces because they're these bills are being created in areas sometimes by people who have no understanding of the firearms that they're trying to ban, which makes no sense because here, if you're an expert on a certain thing, it would make sense that you would have something logical to say about the thing that you're trying to write legislation to ban or restrict. Now, if you're hearing what I'm saying, the people who are writing this legislation are not experts. They're far from it. They don't even understand the basic functions of a firearm. Yet here they are writing bills and laws to restrict us. Now, isn't it interesting that with the control that the party has, that now they seem to continually want to rouse and kick up some dirt by once again warning us about what's coming. Hey, it's coming, it's coming. Oh, hey, you know what's coming, you know what's coming. Oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do what we said we're going to do. We're going to take it down. We're going to be for Americans. Despite the fact that some of the first things in the executive orders that were first signed had more to do with outside interest than inside citizens. So it stands to reason that if you and I, our houses are at war, and before that war, somehow my house comes down with malaria, can't move, can't touch, can't fight, can't do anything. You knowing this, come to my house. And basically, before coming in and reestablishing your grounds, you stomp my flowers, you pull my TV down. You know what I'm saying? You do everything but securing the household, which leads to believe you probably had something to do with my malaria. It's interesting that when someone comes up and they're talking about and they're threatening to do something that almost all within their power is possible, the only leg that us firearm owners really have is the fact that the morals basically of some of the congressmen and women. So what else are they looking to try to pass? Because this seems like more of a sort of kick up the dirt so they won't quite see what else is coming. So while they get gun owners up in arms and ready to argue and fight, and all the non and anti-gunners, or anti-gunners, we'll just say, while they get them, because now they're fighting back against this ideology that this party has decided to bestow upon them. When legislation doesn't make sense, it doesn't follow science, it doesn't follow any sort of reasoning, it only goes towards rhetoric. It goes to reclassifying the very people who, though for their definition, that are on the brink of what they're trying to stop. So when you look at legal citizens, you have Porsches, Ferraris, and all kinds of high-end cars that are able to break the speed limit. But the government still gives you the opportunity to decide when you get in that vehicle whether or not you're going to use it for malicious purposes. Now, with the hoops that some of us have to go through, and even in the states where you don't, there is some responsibility to learn more, get better, and teach yourself about the firearm that you're attempting or trying to carry. But it's interesting that there is no right to drive established in the Constitution, but there is a right to defend ourselves and to carry. But yet, when you look at driving, I'm able to drive my vehicle into a station where I'm going to get more fuel to power my vehicle, and I'm able to buy liquor. Not only liquor that I can take home and consume, but single capacity, smaller one-time usage. I'm able to buy that at the gas station in the vehicle that I'm not allowed to consume this drink. I always thought the logic was that that's why a lot of gas stations didn't have liquor, was to stop you from doing that. Now you'd be hard-pressed to find one that isn't. But yet, you try to use words and terminology to reclassify normal law-abiding citizens who've paid their taxes, jumped through hoops, done everything that has been requested of them, and yet you want to challenge and make them the criminals that you can't seem to go after. You've created this demon of this big bad guy, this big bad wolf that's going around with guns and shooting people. Okay. The narrative is only true in the sense that some things are inciting other things. So somewhere there's a machine that is creating the ideology that it's okay to go out and cause these tragedies. Somewhere there's something that's putting this thought in the heads of people. Now, with firearms being around as long as they were, if this was the firearm, this would be the epidemic. Because we'd be at the point that constantly, over and over and over and over, they want to blame firearm owners for the effect of Hollywood. Hollywood has created a stigma, in a sense, and kind of controlled the narrative to make firearms look a certain way. So when politicians are referring to it, they're referring to what's in movies, not what's in reality. So again, I say, with all of that, it makes you wonder how when someone in power still decides to come out and warn you about what they're about to do. Is that a ploy just to keep you busy so they can sneak around the backside with something else? Not saying they're not coming after our guns. Oh, I surely believe they are. For anybody who says, oh, you guys are rebel rousing, you guys are just starting stuff. Okay. I believe that proactivity was before. Many of us have sat and we've rested and thought that things weren't going to happen, and now things are further than any of us ever considered. And if you look at kind of the way and how we got here, it was an orchestrated effort. It wasn't an accident that all of a sudden one day somebody woke up and said, we're going to start this and keep going. This is something that has been going for a while, which means it's a dedicated plan. The only way anybody in any time period or anything would have this is if they're going off an old playbook. I wonder I've seen the whole disarm and disarm a society. I wonder where that's been done before. So I still, again, say, what's the thing they don't want us to see? The thing over there. Hey, look over here. Look what I'm doing with my left hand. Snuck right around the right. I don't know. Doesn't mean it's left-handed or right-handed, conservative or liberal or anything, red or blue. It just means that these hands have to be working in concert. Because you can't have enough people over here without having some of these people helping you sneak around over here. Just saying. Hey, I'm Griff. What do I know? I'm just a guy who likes firearms and doesn't like the restrictions that are put on them. I had to remain a non-violent felon. I mean, not to say that anything, but even a fight could have disqualified me. So I've resisted a lot of urges and things that could have happened in my life that would have disqualified me from being able to carry a firearm, let alone instruct and get others to be able to do the same. It seems ridiculous that I would want to go and waste that when I'm talking about the value and safety of my family and my home. But quickly, with the stroke of a pen, it wasn't a consideration that this might actually do something. It's the simple fact that people with guns got money to buy guns. They got money to fill up these money pools. We'll pay anything, won't we? Anything.